We've had a conversation previously about the technologies that are available now and how fast that technology has moved in the last 5 years. But there is a massive amount of existing building stock, whether that's commercial or residential, that is going to need upgrading and some type of work to help the UK get to its 2050 target of net zero level C or above.
It's a tall order.
There's something like 29 million residential properties, plus the commercial environment. So you're talking almost 1 million properties a year for the next, well, almost 29 years, isn't it? So it's a massive task that we have, and that's why when we talk about how fast technology is changing, that it's those kind of deadlines which are potentially driving that the speed of that.
I mean, that basically means that electricians now have got there's a ton of work out there. I mean, it's a monstrous order book of work that has to be done. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It's a thorny topic among people, but I'm not convinced the electrical industry is maybe as ready, I guess, as it could be, in the politest way of saying it.
You're right. It's a very tricky subject, but we need to start this journey, and it is a journey. It's not a destination, because continual sustainability, continued improvement in efficiencies within buildings is just, it's a journey. You'll never get there because, in 10 years' time, hopefully we'll have a development in hydrogen technologies which will make it safer and more accessible. So there'll be more newer technologies, as we nearer that 2050, but it's a continuous journey. So when we look at the existing housing stock or the existing commercial stock, there's some massive challenges around how do we bring those up to speed almost. Up to speed, yeah. In a commercial environment, if it's again, let's look at an office block, small office block. If it's more than 20, 30 years old, you're going to have old isolated systems. You'll have the heating that'll come on just by a switch, the lighting's by a switch. The hot water system is just on a timer. So there's no closed loop control. There's no way of turning these things off. And as we mentioned before, a building BMS system, BEMS, building energy management system control, it needs that centralized unit that makes those informed decisions by taking all these inputs, like the access control when someone swipes in the morning, the lights are then active, turns the heating system on. So, in a commercial building, it's not quite so bad because the containment system that we use, as you're well aware, normally cable tray, probably for an older building, trunking, you have access above the ceiling, so you can do additions and alterations quite easily. So retrofitting additional smart devices isn't such a bigger thing in a commercial environment. But I do think the one of the biggest stumbling blocks is actually justifying that expenditure in the first place.
That's the hard that you're trying to get people essentially to part with their cash, to get them, because that's what it is. You've got to get people to open their wallets to realise actually this is serious. It's got to be done.
Yeah, what is it? You got to break a few eggs to make an omelette. So
did they? Yeah.
Yeah, I bring it back to food all the time. But you do, and it's very hard because if there's a refurb of a commercial floor going on, there's a capex expenditure to do that refit, but the running costs of the return of investment on putting that smart technology in to reduce the energy on that building is actually seen by a different person.
Yeah, you've got huge buildings, but of course every individual floor of that building is broken up, so no particular one tenant is responsible. Every single floor, they're all individually responsible for their own electric, which is probably why you see 1,000 lights on, because there's one person doesn't control the whole building. Do you think the UK's army, I guess, if you want to call it a better word, the UK's army of electricians is ready for this rollout of tech, which is going to be, I mean, you like you said, the kit that you guys are creating already is just, I mean, it's accelerating at such a pace. Do you think that the UK's army of electricians is up to speed and ready to take this on? I'll be honest, I don't think they are.
No, I think you're quite right there, because it's a lot to take in. So, as I said earlier, we're going from power sockets to lighting, and I've also been doing some Cat6 cabling for network points. And the next thing then is to look at the networks and having a single network system around the home where all those devices are connected. And then we'll eventually go back to one central controller. So there is a big step up that the electrical industry, contractors need to make, because there's some new skills that need to be taken on. And they can diversify as well. So I mentioned earlier with the plumber, but when you're an electrician, once you understand how to pull a cable in, that could be an armour, that could be a data cable, that could be a doorbell cable, whatever. Once you can bend a bit of conduit, you can bend a bit of copper pipe. So there's a lot of transferable skills within the electrical industry. Once you know how to cut straight, measure tight, and put it up straight.
What we were saying is that the role of the traditional electrician is evolving. And with this changing tech that's coming in, it's bringing huge amounts of opportunity. And it's really about embracing that change, and along with that change will be a need to upskill. Homeowners and commercial businesses are starting to become more focused on the way that they use their energy and electricity, the equipment that's required to provide the insight is becoming more advanced. Mm-hmm. And I think with the equipment and the technology, and we'll come on to technology shortly, but it's evolving at a fast pace. But what we're also seeing, which is good to hear, is that we're starting to see simplification of some really complex technologies. But moving back to the army of electricians that we talk about, there is significant opportunity. And there's also not just around the business opportunity, but around the chance to upskill, to differentiate yourselves as electricians.
That's the thing,
in the marketplace.
We've got to upskill and keep moving forwards. Otherwise, we just get left behind. But it's not something to be afraid of, because like you said, there is so much work out there. If you know a bit about this, your order book can be full, and you can charge good money for this stuff because it's a skill that not everybody has.
So what's the key takeaways then? For an electrician, what are we saying?
Yeah, embrace technology. Don't be afraid of it.
I think I'm going to sort of try and highlight a couple of points that we've just sort of covered, which is don't be afraid to embrace the change. The connected technologies that are coming are actually becoming far simpler to integrate and install. Upskill, take that opportunity and set yourself apart in that space that you're working. Be that electrician that's forward thinking, and really take your customers on the journey. They're looking for somebody that can guide them through their journey. There's a lot of information out there. Embrace the change.
Definitely.
The landscape will be changing in the next 5 years significantly.
Whether we like it or not, it's changing. Yeah.
Absolutely.